everyone. So happy June. So welcome to my Flosstube channel. So I always forget to preface this with what it is, just in case there's someone new here. So this is my stitchy channel where I talk about things that I've been stitching, sometimes a bit of knitting, sometimes my cats, and might have a bit of a health life update at the end because it has been a little while longer than I had planned. But yes, so welcome to my channel. This is Coco Creates. I'm Zoe and this is Coco. Coco's very shy today. So some of you I might remember, I'm sure I've said at some point in the last few years, Coco is part Maine Coon. So if you've ever seen a Maine Coon, they are very fluffy, they have really thick fur, they're kind of made for, you know, snow. And when there's not snow, they struggle. So Coco really sort of struggles with the heat. So she gets quite lethargic, sort of stops eating, stops drinking. It's like, okay, you know, so we have to do something. And what we do is we give Coco what's called a lion cut, which means she gets most of her fur shaved off. So she gets to keep her lion mane and her pretty little face and her paws. But this section of her, oh, let's see if I'm strong enough. No, this section all gets shaved, and her tail sort of all gets shaved off, shaved down, so it's all nice and cool down for her. Okay, you can get that down now. Sorry. So yeah, so she has a shave, so she doesn't look very you know, very attractive. She feels very exposed, that's the word. Showing off her spotty belly. I don't know if she'll let me show you her spotty belly. Yeah. But yes, so she's very grumpy. But yeah, and then that helps her a lot coping with the heat. So she's able to sort of run around and play and, you know, eat and drink and do all the cat things. But yes, including sleeping, which obviously is the most important thing that cats need to do. So yes, so she's had her summer shave about a few weeks ago now, about 3-4 weeks ago. But yeah, so she's getting there. So yeah, you all done? You're gonna go now? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she's going to go and hide. So on to stitching. So let's see, where I left you off last month was I had just rolled for my stitching. So I play a game with my stitching that I've made a Whipopoly board, which is like an extreme version of Monopoly, where I've taken the kind of supersized Monopoly board that obviously has already been created, and then I've put the names of my projects onto the names of the you know, the squares, the houses, and I've changed things around. So instead of you know, number of rolls or amount you would pay for houses and hotels, it's number of stitches. So last month I left you off that I just rolled a number 10, so which landed me onto Charlotte, which is a chart by John Clayton. So it's one of his Elegance miniatures, this one here. So I bought this one from Hobbycraft long time ago, and I was stitching this onto my old work apron. I was also stitching it like a mirror image, which I had forgotten, and was like, okay, you know, and I wasn't that fussed about it. You know, I remember saying last time that I didn't love it as much. You know, I was not looking forward to getting the project out, which meant that I didn't love it as much as, you know, I wanted to, or as much as my other projects. So I got it out, I looked, and I thought, no, I promised myself I would put the 10 rolls, so the 1,000 stitches in, and then I would decide, you know, as I'm stitching, what I felt. My first job was to pop this onto Markup XP. So obviously it's a paper chart, and a lot of the symbols were, I don't know if I'll be able to show this, but a lot of the sort of symbols are very, there's quite a lot of symbols per square. So you can see there's lots of half stitches, lots of quarters, lots of halves, like instead of being half that way where you would normally have them the half that way. So yeah, so it wasn't going to be able to go into Pattern Keeper. So I scanned it on and popped it into Markup XP. No one's talking to you. The Amazon thing had just woke up. Anyway, so yeah, markup. Still not 100% sure whether I'm happy with markup. Obviously when it comes to paying my next year's subscription I will decide then, but neither here nor there. Popped it onto there. This has turned into like a 3-minute rant about this thing and I haven't actually said anything yet. I'm so sorry. Okay, put it on there. Started looking at my stitching and marking off what I'd already done. Cool, that's where I'm going to start first, and then I can see obviously where I am, where to go, because it's been quite a few years since I've actually touched that project, so I've no idea what I've done, where I'm going. I hope that's not too loud. We pull the door to a bit. Obviously it's a nice day, everyone's out in their gardens, so doing stuff. And anyway, as I was putting it into markup, I could see where I'd done sort of part of her hat. So I'd started on the dark green of the hat, so I'd done that bit and I'd come around and this. And this side, I quite hadn't gone far enough, so there was a lot of mistakes up at this end. And at this end, I also had made quite a lot of mistakes that were in the wrong place. And I just thought, oh gosh, I thought, how am I gonna like stitch around that? Like, I'm gonna have to either go over what I've done to try and with the correct colours, or sort of edit the pattern down and edit this up. And I thought, you know what, sort of, especially with there being a lot of fractional stitches, because I was doing it on the dissolvable fabric, the dissolvable Aida. Obviously that doesn't have any way of you making those fractional stitches, so I was having to get a sewing needle, a really sharp one, to pierce the holes in the sort of plastic. It's not plastic, you know, it's whatever it is that dissolves, but it's that stuff, and then stitch. And I thought, you know what, I don't love this, I hate it. You know, I can't even bring myself to work on it. I've made so many errors. I'm going to start again. You know, yes, I know I've done, I don't know, 300 stitches or whatever it is, but you know what? I'd rather start it again, and it won't take me any time to do all of that, redo those stitches, compared to the amount of time it's going to take me to keep working. So I started again, and I didn't start on my apron. I thought, you know what? Let's scrap that idea completely and let's start it on a regular piece of fabric. Let's start it in the regular orientation, and restart. So I picked up, this is the fabric that I'm doing all my little ones on. So it's like a, I don't know, I think I said it was a 32, but I'm leaning more into it being a 28 now, just with the size. Or I thought it might have been a 36, but now I think it's a 32. Whatever it was, whatever size I said it was last time, I'm pretty sure it's bigger than that. So there we go. And I restarted her, and I didn't start with the hat because I thought I made so many mistakes the first time. Don't trust myself to do it again. I started in the bottom corner of her dress, not her dress, you know, her little suit. So you can sort of see it does have a corner there of the white. So I started there and I worked myself up, and that was 1,010 stitches. And so that was my first. I worked out I've only got her hat left to do now. I've pretty much done the rest. On a little bit of back stitch on her eyes, I think. No, I've done the back stitch that was on her eyes. So yeah, it's literally just the hat left to do, which I think is probably only about another maybe 1,500 stitches. So yeah, so quite loving her again. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting her done. And obviously, I mean, I did that in one day. So that 1,000, I sat and did it all in one go. So really, it's only going to take me a few more days to do the rest. So a couple more times of pulling this out and she will be done, which is quite exciting. So yes, so back to loving her as much as I did when I first picked up the chart, which is very nice. So she's popped in there. So that was my first project. Then I was gonna pick up my phone like I was gonna show you the recording. No, I insert the recordings. So I did my next roll, and I rolled a 7. So I landed on 3 baby dragons. So this is the other chart that I have in Markup XP, because this one is a Shiny Suns Designs, and it's only on paper, and obviously scanning the pages, I couldn't quite get them neat enough and lined up enough for Pattern Keeper. So this is in Markup XP, and I have started in the top right corner, and and I'm working diagonally down. I did do this block of black, but basically I'm working diagonally down. And I worked on this one over a couple of days, I think. I've opened all my books, but I put them all on top of each other. So yes, I worked, yeah, on a couple of days, and I did 769 stitches on this. So I'm doing this on 18 count Ada, with the cord for DMC, apart from the anchor black. So apart from the black, I'm doing with anchor instead. And oh, get this where I can see. And there we go. And that was 769 stitches. So you can see there's a few sort of missing, you know, little missing bits, a few colours missing in there. But yeah, basically working in the diagonals down there. So hoping to get, where am I? So I'm almost finished. So I'm just, this hump here that you can see there shaded back is the second hump, so her second wing. I say her, it's a dragon, so their second wing. But yeah, hoping a couple more goes and I'll actually be down into the body and then onto the book a little bit, and getting something a bit more interesting than just a wing. Now I did have a couple of, what's this? My screen is so far away, but if I get it any closer, all you can see is like up my nose. So I feel like I'm reaching, it's really hurting. But yeah, so I might, if I can't get this close enough for you to see, I might insert a picture. But I did wonder whether to sort of just crop this to like the one dragon, and I was like, well, that's not very big, so well maybe I could crop it to the two dragons, so sort of crop it like that and just have it as they fall. But then I thought, well, they're both kind of looking at something, so if I crop it there, you're not going to see what they're looking at. What they're looking at is the other dragon, and this is the side with the candles, you know, and the rest of the books. And I've tried to sort of manually crop it in a few different ways, you know, with my hands, thinking, oh, I could do this, I could do this. And I thought, you know what, I thought I can't crop it in a way that I'm liking, so I will probably end up continuing working on this until it's, you know, and doing the full thing. Which, the reason I was talking about cropping it was because this project, Been on Ada, has sort of reinforced to me that I do prefer working on the even weave and the linen. I find this quite painful to stitch, hence it took me 2 days to do 700 stitches, whereas the previous one I did 1,000 in one day. Having to force the needle through the Ada fabric, I'm having to grip the needle tighter, and because this thumb joint, because of my Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, this thumb joint is very lax and it dislocates really easy. So every time I grip the needle, if I grip too hard, I dislocate this joint. And then every stitch, the joint's going pop, 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 you know, in and out, and it causes a lot of pain up here. So I can't stitch it very long. And like I said, that sort of reinforced to me that I want to sort of be stepping more into sort of the even weave fabrics, you know, those ones. Because, I mean, this isn't my only Ada project. I've noticed it over quite a few different ones. I've tried, so I'm doing two threads over one with the 18 count. I've tried using a bigger needle. I've tried using a smaller needle. I've also tried washing the fabric first to try and get rid of some of the starch. And none of those things has really helped too much in terms of the pushing the needle through the fabric. So if you have any other ideas or tips, please share. But yeah, I think in future I will be looking at sort of swapping out, you know, when I start a new project, if it comes with Ada, just straight swapping it out to an even weave, you know, whether it's an even weave or linen, you know, either which way, but swapping out to that, just because I don't enjoy the time that I'm stitching. I don't enjoy the process of stitching on the Ada, and that means it's going to take me longer to work on, and I don't want to do that. So there we go. Next roll. See, now I've put that book on top of the other book. I've got way too many. Right, let's put that up there. Right, ever the organised person. So my next roll I actually rolled a 12, so top of the shop. So, and I picked up my, well, I landed on my map sale. So this is Ink Circles. This was the Mysterious Adventure Project, so MAP. It was from several years ago now, I think. 20... Did I write when it was? Well, I started it in 2020, so it probably came out in 2019. Maybe 2020, you know, maybe pandemic-y time, I don't know. And the point of this was that the chart came with many options, many different choices, and you would roll dice to decide different things. So what type of board you were going to do, what type of scale you were going to work at, which direction your chart was going to be, which way your coastline was going to go. All of those different things were decided on the roll of the dice. So this is my full piece, and my goal for this year, I believe, was to finish I believe I wrote it to finish the water. Did I actually write it down in this book? Maps and mythology, map. No, where are we going? Did I have a goal for this? I didn't write it down. Well, I didn't write it down in there, so whether I actually said the goal out loud or not is another matter. But, you know, when I picked it up, I figured my goal was to complete the 2 water sections. So, so I've got water in this section down here. I can't hold it. So this half here and this bit up there. But as I was working on it, I thought logistically, that's about half the design. So if I just finish about half of the design, that meets the goal as well. So even though I'll be doing water and land, I thought half finished is half, you know. Does that even make sense? You know, sometimes you say something out loud and you're like, do those words even... I swear, this is why I look at the timer and I've been recording for nearly half an hour, and then it comes to, once I've actually edited it down, it's like 4 minutes of actual, it's just because it's just me rabbiting on about nonsense for like 5 minutes with all these words, like, right. So this is why I need to lie down after I've done these. Okay, halfway, nearly. I just got, obviously this space here to film. So what did I work on? What motifs did I work on? So I wanted something else. I need something to lean these up against. Can I hold that there? Does that help? Yes, that does. Haha. Right. So I didn't have anything here, and this gap felt a bit too, I don't know, gappy. I wanted something in it. So I did the little anchor, and I did it, you know what, I don't know if this is helping. I just did it over one. So I just did a little anchor there, little bottom anchor. And then that was pretty much my water done. I'm resisting the urge to add anything in here because that feels like a big space, but I feel if I start putting too much in and making it too dense, there's just going to be way too much all over it and you're not going to be able to see what's going on there. So then I thought, well, I know on the chart she did sort of say to sort of fill in the gaps with like just little waves, you know, a few little stitches here, and then on the land you would use a few tufts of grass. So I thought, you know what, I'll just keep it to that. So I won't do a motif, I'll just do a couple of little waves just to fill in the space. So then I moved over onto the land and I started down here with some trees. So this is some little trees and then a little line of sort of hills or dunes or mounds, like little mountain ridge, I think. Sort of, it could be any of those, you know, whatever. I started there. And then up here are 2 little cottages. So there's a little village up here. And then we come further up, we've got a mountain and some more little trees in this mountainous area. And then up here, we've got some little deer or elk or moose, you could call them. But yeah, just in some little woods. So I had already done the lighthouse previous. But yeah, so that's what I filled in there. So I just need something else, a couple more things to pop over here, and then that'll be that half finished. So then I'll be halfway. But yeah, so that was, I think it worked out to almost exactly the 1200 stitches. I think it was quite good. You know, quite nicely worked. But yeah. So that is that one. Okay, so then my next project, my next roll, I rolled an 8, so I landed on Kingdom of Books. So I've not picked this one up for a little while either. Let's drop this out. So this one I did have a goal for the end of the year. So I wanted to get two books completed. Oh, got cat fur stuck to me. And I sort of completed one book, so the book that I was working on. So I managed to get that completed. So this is all done. The only thing I haven't put in is the time that's up here. So there's these two books either side have a clock tower on, and the time. And I'm thinking I might put the time as sort of the year. So use it for the year, obviously using a sort of the 24-hour, you know, connotation. So 20 to, you know, is 8 o'clock. Sort of the year that I started and the year I finished, or maybe just the year that I finished, you know, have sort of 20 o'clock, so 8 o'clock, and then I don't know, 21, you know, it'd be like, where are we going? So like 5, you know, if I finished it in, you know, 2025, it would be sort of 20, and then I'd do sort of 20 and then 5. It makes sense in my head. So it would be 20 past 8 would be the year 2025. If you write it out as a 24-hour clock, it makes sense. Trust me, I'm sure it does. It makes sense up here, and that's the only place that matters for now. Once it's actually written down, you know, on the piece, then it will be self-explanatory. Anyway, see you again with the rambles. Right, anyway, so finish this book. So this is all complete, obviously apart from the clock and the back stitch for the flag. So this flag looks like, you know, just a few random stitches. It is a flag like this though. So you can't quite see the white stitches in the flag. So obviously once I get the background and the back stitch in, that would make sense. The top of this, finishing this was really hard because there were so many areas where I just missed like one stitch of that colour. So I was having to thread on, now this is 3 strands over one on the 14 count Ada. So sort of having to thread on sort of 3 strands, so you couldn't even do a loop start, proper loop start, to try and just do one cross and then finish it off, when already my back was quite thick because of all of the different colours. You know, it was trying to find somewhere that I could loose off without ending up with a massive lump. But yeah, so past me had obviously made a bit of a mess and wasn't counting properly, left stitches everywhere. But we've sorted that and started on the next book, which is the green one, which comes up there. So have I got the actual picture? Yeah, there we go. So yeah, so I finished this one, started that one. Oh, also the names of the books are backstitched. I haven't added that on yet. I do have the English translation of the names, which I will be using. I'll be doing that to write those on. But yes, so that is that, and I put in, what was that, 843 stitches onto that one. So that is that book complete, and the second one started. So hopefully I'll be able to get done. I don't think I will. I think I set myself a lot of goals for a lot of different projects at the start of the year, obviously not thinking through the amount of time. So each of those goals individually are perfectly achievable, but when you start putting them all together with all of the other projects, not so much. But, you know, we'll see how we get there. So obviously at the end of this month, I'm going to be doing like a recap video, just going through sort of what I've worked on so far this year, and sort of re-looking at some of my goals, maybe sort of resetting a few or removing some, but we'll see. So my next roll, so I landed on a corner square, so This was the roll 3 corner square. So like the I can't remember what it's called in the main game, but it was basically you roll 3 dice, and if you roll numbers that match, then you would have a different number of stitches to add on to. So I rolled 3 dice. I got 2 2s and a 6, so I had 2 dice that matched, 2 die that matched, and that meant that I would need to add 200 stitches onto my next project, whatever I landed on. So then for my next project I rolled a 5 and I landed on one of the stations, so Pennsylvania Railroad, and that is to work on one of my hayes, one of my full coverage. So I hadn't worked on this one yet, so I picked this out. This is Medusa. Where is she? There we go. So this is on a piece of 40 count from Sparklies. This is a it was a sort of personal request sort of die, but she was going to pop it onto a regular catalogue as Medusa's Gaze, but then I think she couldn't get hold of the dies to actually dye it again, so I'm not sure if she still has that, so you would have to ask her. But this is let's see, so this was my adding 500 stitches because I landed on the railroad, the 500 stitches that I rolled plus the 200, so this is 1200 stitches that I added. So I keep putting it in the middle, forgetting that I'm about to put in like the where I was before. So you can sort of see. So this is the like leaves of her headdress, and you can, not leaves, feathers of her headdress, and you can sort of see them a bit better as feathers now. So obviously you've got the centre of the feather, and then all the little leafy bits coming out. So yeah, I'm doing this with 1 strand 10 stitch over 40, the 40 count. So yeah, so that is in fact it looks a lot better on the camera than it does in person, because I'm looking at it now and it just looks like a bunch of nonsense, so you can't tell what it is at all, but you put it up to the camera and you can really see those feathers sticking out, so that is good. But yeah, so still enjoying that, really like that, the fabric, the sort of mottling. This design, you could buy the one with the background and the one without. I picked the one without background because no one has time for that. And then I basically sent the image to Kate over at Sparklies and said, you know, I don't want to stitch the background on it, but can you get me a piece of fabric that will kind of match the background? And that is what she came up with here, which matched really nicely. I'm in 2 minds about whether I'm going to be stitching the moon as well, or whether I'm going to crop that out too. I don't know if the moon really adds anything to it. I know from what I remember, this piece does have a sister design that then obviously has the moon and a different person facing the other way. I'm not going to stitch that piece, so I don't need them to match. So yeah, so still in 2 minds about cropping out that moon. Obviously working diagonally though, I've still got quite a way to go before I even get there, so plenty of time to decide. Obviously one reason that I'm leaning towards not doing it is I'm thinking the moon might actually blend in too much to my background fabric anyway, meaning that, you know, you do all that stitching and then you wouldn't see it because it would blend into the fabric. So yeah. Right, and then my last roll for May was for Pandemic. So I rolled a number 10, so which is 1000 stitches. This is a Long Dog sampler, so I did get this when she had the piece for free on her website right at the start of Pandemic. This I'm stitching on a piece of, it's really nice fabric, but unfortunately the dyer is no longer in business. But I stitched 1000 stitches on her, so I think I've got a picture of kind of where I started. So it was already on the frame though, so just from here. And I sort of followed my, I finished off a couple of threads up here, and then I moved over to here and worked on this piece there. And then I've got this one on Pattern Keeper, so I stopped at exactly 1000 stitches and stopped right there. I also found a mistake. I once I had this on the frame, I found that I was missing a stitch, so I'll pop a video in here. I was just looking at it, I noticed somewhere, because it is a symmetrical design, in here, this bowl is very symmetrical, and yeah, completely missed across, just randomly, just for no reason, just missed one out. So then, because I'd seen it, I then had to go back and fix it. So I had to tuck all the way down there and go and fix my stitch. But yeah, so that is that one fixed. I'm pretty sure if I looked hard enough, I would probably find other stitches that I'd missed, but until I come across them, I'm quite happy just leaving them missed out. But yeah, so we got on there. Did I write down? I think when I started, I was at 11.27%, and let's bring up Pattern Keeper again. Pandemic, and let's see where I am now, because I think my goal was to get to, was it 20% on this one? Yes, 20%. And let's see, now I'm at 12.57, so I did, what was that? 11.2, so 1.3% I did. So yeah, so it'd take quite a few more stitches to reach my 20%, so maybe I won't get to 20 by the end of the year. Right, but I'm trying not to think about my goals too much, because that is a job for next month, Zoe, not this month. But yeah, so nearly got that bottom corner done. And yeah, and then that was my month. So for May, so then I went away with family for a few days. And I thought, well, you know, what am I going to take, sort of thing. I thought, you know, I don't want to be taking sort of too much. I can't take that, like, loads of projects. You know, I don't have enough room in the car to take loads of projects. But I can't take my stand, so I was going to take my mum's stand because hers is a lot smaller. But I really can't stitch without a floor stand now. I've become too attached to it. So I went through my projects and I thought, you know what, this is one of my goal pieces. I want to get this finished this year. It's only got 2 colours, so I don't need to take loads of colours, so I will take this. And oh, let me pull the pattern off. So this is Castle Walls by Ink Circles. It's still on my frame. I popped it back on the frame when I got home because I thought I wanted to work a little bit more on it. And yeah, and I put in just over 1,000 stitches while I was away. I put in 1,069 stitches while I was away. I finished this section here, did this piece, and then sort of worked the board around, and I'm just starting into this block. I've got this block left, this corner block, and then just fill in the inside of that one, and then there's one more of these that will obviously go here, and then that is the piece finished. So I think looking at it, give or take, I've only got about a quarter, well, less than a quarter, because a quarter would have brought it into here. So, but yeah, less than a quarter. So two big sections, 2 little sections left to finish. So let's see, if I put in 1,000 stitches, I'd already done the borders, 1,000 stitches with the inside there and this. So what, maybe 1,000 to, I'd say maybe 3,500 to 4,000 stitches left, which is doable. So this piece is on Fabric Flare, 36 count cloud grey. So it's got that kind of sort of bluey grey mottling, which is quite nice. 36. Yeah, 36. I'm doing over 2. So, and with 2 colours of Silks for You silk. So PR069, which is the navy, and PR147, which is the lovely blue that is in the middle. I did a video long time ago where I actually put out my DMC chart and compared the blues so that you could see, because this colour doesn't show up at all on the camera. So if you want more info, I think scroll back to a couple of years ago, and there's one of the videos, I think the title of the video is like, what is PR147, and have a look there, and it's on that one. But yeah, so almost finished this one, so I'll be working on this one again a bit today. So maybe put in another few hundred Obviously it depends how warm it gets. I'm in the conservatory here, so as the sun comes around it gets very hot in here, you know, compared to the rest of the house, so it depends, but we will see. So I'll get another few hundred at least in that one, and then I will pop that away and see what our next roll is. I haven't pre-rolled my next one, so I can't share with you what I'm going to be working on after that, but we have this one. And yeah, so that's my stitching. So for you, if all you were here for was the cross stitching, that's all done, and I will see you next time. I do have a little bit of knitting to show and a little bit of a health life update to share. So goals for, well, I suppose I don't really have any goals for this month, you know, specifically, but today I'm going to keep working on my ink circles, so my castle walls piece. Need to catch up on some Flosstube. I'm about a month behind at the minute on Flosstube. I haven't listened to anyone for a couple of weeks, which is quite bad. Like, some people have put out like 2 or 3 videos since I've seen them last, which is making me feel very, very behind. But I'm going to sit and listen to the Flosstube today. But yeah, so like I said, that's all my stitchy stuff. That's all you were here for. Thank you very much for staying, and I will see you soon. I said stay safe with the sun, or with the cold, depending obviously what the temperatures are like where you are, which side of the world you live on. But yeah, so stay safe, and obviously remember all those of us around the world that can't stay safe now. And just remember those people, and you know, keep them in your hearts. But yeah, so thank you very much for watching, and yeah, let's see what else I've been working on. So my knitting, I've knitted my first proper pair of socks on, you know, proper sock needles with proper heels and everything, all very fancy. Let's try and get this out into a sock. I should have put it on my sock blockers, but I did not think that far ahead. So here is the first one, all finished. It does fit, so which was very handy. So I did a toe up version, which meant that I could sort of try it on as I went, which came in handy. This yarn is, oh gosh, I haven't got the tag here. It's one of their fruit, it's like a fruit selection. Romantic Tangle, I think she spoke about this yarn. Was it her recently? You know what, it might not have been. Anyway, someone did. So yeah, so and then here is foot number 2. So I've done a modified toe. So if you look at someone else's channel, I can't remember, she does a knitting channel, hopefully I'll remember to insert it somewhere, but she talks about different toes and like a modified toe. So yeah, so I've done that here, so you can see that this is at a much tighter angle than that. So obviously this is where the big toe would go, and then your smaller toes. So yeah, so I found that fits better. So the only difference is I did my increases every 4 rows on this side and every 2 rows on this side. That was literally it, just to get that slightly different mix. This is a 64 stitch sock, so I have a size 6 foot. I also have flat feet, so they're quite wide, but this works quite well. I'm doing this on a 2.5mm needle. Just realised I can't tell if that's a loose, I've got like some loose stitches there, but they're not stitches, so I don't know if it's where I've gone to weave in the end and I just don't think I've woven it in properly. So I might have to go back and have a look at that, because that's on the sole of the foot, so if that is where I've missed some stitches, it's going to unravel quite quick. So I did an afterthought heel on this one. This one was a proper afterthought heel where I just knitted the tube and then went back and basically put it on my foot and then decided where to put the heel. In the other one I've done like a, I don't know what it's called, but it's basically I've put in a waist thread where my afterthought heel is going to go, just so that they're in the same place. So I basically did the same number of repeats, give or take, and then marked it just with the extra thread. But yeah, and then my heel, I did a 6 6 decreases every second row. So that made like a little sort of spiral that went all the way to the end. And then I just Kitchener stitched the last half a dozen stitches together just to make a little flat bit there. But yeah, I also added a gusset to these because I have quite a high, it's not an instep, but the bit between like your heel and, you know, I don't know what bit, but bit between your heel and the front of the ankle. So that's quite wide for me. So I added a gusset in, which is basically just some short row shaping where I picked up to start my round decrease, and I just did half a dozen rows of short row shaping there on both sides as a gusset, which has sort of improved the fit quite a bit with that, stops that pulling. But yeah, so one sock. The second sock, I've nearly finished the ribbing at the top. I've got one more repeat. By repeat, I mean like pattern, you know, pattern repeat, because I did 2 stripes. And then the heel. And that one shall be done. Obviously got my pin on to remember which it is. Now, my only problem with this yarn, it's lovely to work with. It's super soft. It's a 2-ply, so, but it doesn't, you know, you have to really yank it to pull it apart. You know, it sort of stays together quite well as you're working. It's quite nice, quite even, colours flow nicely. My only issue, and it's one that I've noticed twice now on this, so it wasn't just a one-off, but here you can see it's where the stripes haven't been done correctly. This is a pre-striped yarn, so I haven't changed the colours. But yeah, you've got sort of 2 sort of quite dark pinks, a light pink and a green, and then on this one they've completely missed out the light pink. So it's not that it's been missed, because there is the right number of rows sort of thing, but they just haven't dyed it light pink, it's green instead. So instead of having 2 rows of light pink, 3 rows of green, I've got 5 rows of green there. I did think several times about sort of taking it out, because it wasn't something I noticed until I was quite a way past. It's like, oh, I don't want to unpick it, it'll be fine, I won't notice it, it'll be fine. But every time I pick it up I notice it. I thought I could unpick it and just add in that stripe, but then I would have 2 ends to weave in. I'm like, with that being on the sole of the foot, I'm not sure if that would aggravate me more, even if it was on the top, but if, you know, I'd be able to feel it. So, and then I thought, if it's going to make the sock uncomfortable to wear, I'm not going to wear it at all. But then a friend did say, because obviously these are shaped at the toe, I have a right and a left, and in order to remember which one's the left one doesn't have the stripe, has the faulty stripe. So I could use that to just remember which sock's which, rather than trying to mark which one's the right one and which one's the left. Just use that as my marker. So I thought, oh, that works too. So there we go. So almost finished this. Hopefully that'll be a pair of socks for my next video. I have got I did pick up quite a few different colours of this fruity yarn. However, I do need to weigh how much is left, because I think when I looked after I'd finished the first sock, there wasn't really enough for me to do a pair of long socks. You know, sort of knee-high ones. There was only enough for me to do sort of the ankle ones. But I want to weigh how much is left, just to see how much off I would have been. Because some of the other colours I might like to do sort of knee-high ones. So, but I might need to buy 2 balls of those instead. But we will see. Oh, that's the pattern for that piece. I better put that back with that, else I would lose it. So, oh, and I'm also knitting another sweater as a test knit. So obviously that's in pieces at the minute in the other room. So I can't quite share that until the pattern's released. But I will show that off next time. That's using quite a lot of different colours. It's called the Rain Catcher sweater. Oh, I've got hiccups. But yes, so that one I'll be showing next time as well. I think that's all my project progress, maybe. So just do a quick life update. So I think I remember in my last recording mentioning that I wasn't feeling very well. Reason for that is I'd done a bit too much the previous day, and I could sort of feel it coming on, that I had done too much. I hadn't thought at the time that I was doing too much. I thought I could do the thing, so I thought I could, you know, walk that distance. It wasn't a very long distance that I tried to walk. Obviously my body disagreed, and my body thought it was far too far. And yeah, and that day, as I was recording, I could sort of feel it creeping. You know, when you get that feeling that you've done too much, and you're like, oh, yeah, I could feel that. But unfortunately, due to my condition, my body starts to shut down when I get things like that. And I could feel it coming. So I knew last time that if I didn't record that right then, I wasn't going to be well enough to record. Obviously, might be able to tell I haven't done quite as much stitching as sort of previous months. I think I've done what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6,000 stitches. So that's like maybe a quarter of what I could do in a month. So yeah, not very much at all. It's really hard because I don't know what to say without like bombarding everyone. But basically my legs shut down. So my brain stopped talking to my legs. So I couldn't lift my legs up. So if I had to walk, you know, from like my bed to the bathroom, I was basically just shuffling like a little old person. I couldn't lift my legs up. I was having to sort of hold onto the wall and sort of drag my legs with me. That went on for about 2 weeks. It took about 2 weeks before I was able to sort of actually start lifting my legs and moving, and sort of getting into and out of bed on my own without help, which was hard. So also after that, it was about a week after that, I started having problems with my foot. Turned out, because I couldn't feel my legs properly, couldn't feel my feet. I also have Raynaud's, so I have really bad circulation. I'd actually stood on something. I'd hit my foot, and I'd basically ripped a hole into my skin, which had sort of abscessed, and it got infected. It got infected quite bad. It didn't look bad, like to look at it looked fine. It was very red, like the skin was red, and the red had sort of crept down my foot towards my ankle. It's like, okay, it's like, that's bad, maybe I should speak to a doctor. So yeah, so I went to the doctor, had a course of antibiotics. So I had those for about a week, just over a week. Went back to the doctor. They were like, that's not helped, or not helped enough, we need to put you on another course of antibiotics. They were like, we know you're allergic to penicillin, but we need to give you it, sort of thing. You know, that's what this infection, you know, this is a penicillin infection, sort of thing. Not a penicillin infection, but one that you would take a penicillin to defeat. Anyway, so like, we know you're allergic to that, but we need to give you this. So they gave me that. I had quite a bad reaction to it. I actually had came out in a rash all down here, all up here, all up my back. Was very sick. Couldn't keep anything down. Water, tea, tablets, couldn't keep anything down at all. Was struggling with breathing. So went back to the doctor. Actually, I think I rang the doctor. I wasn't well enough to go back to the doctor. I rang the doctor. I was like, I can't. You know, I can't cope with this. Like, it's, you know, it's. I'm going to end up in hospital. I'm on quite a lot of serious medication for like my heart and, you know, a lot of other things basically. And I was like, if I go another day without taking them, I will have to go to hospital to sort of have them IV'd in, sort of thing. And he was like, okay, it's like, yeah, we can't keep you on this. So stop taking those. He says, we'll send you something else, and we'll send you some anti-sickness tablets as well. So take the anti-sickness tablet, that should stop you bringing your medication up, and then you can take your medication. So I was like, okay. So take the anti-sickness tablet, wait half an hour, then take my normal tablets, and then try and like eat and drink as much as I can while the anti-sickness is working, because as soon as that wears off I can't put anything else in. So it was so quite nice. I had another couple of weeks of that, and sort of the infection in my leg had cleared, but then it was trying to clear the allergic reaction out of my system. So getting rid of that. I've still got a bit of the rash. I can feel it now. It's not red, but it's like you can feel the bumps of the skin. It's sort of, I've still got a little bit here, but it's come right back down, and there's just a little bit on my chest. I don't know about my back. I can't feel it. I can't reach. But yeah, I can't reach my back to see if it's there. I don't know. I assume not. No one's told me that there's anything wrong with my back, so we're all good. But yeah, so then had that, and because of all that, a lot of problems with my legs, and then obviously with this infection in my leg, and not being able to get out of bed because of my not being able to take my heart medication and my blood pressure medications, and my blood pressure was really low. So it meant every time I stood up, I was sort of going dizzy, I was passing out. Once I was sat in bed, my mum came up, she was like, I'll bring you a cup of tea. So she went down, and sort of by the time she'd made me a cup of tea to bring it back up, I'd yawned, and the yawning was enough to drop my blood pressure even further, and I passed out on the bed. I was just sat up and I just yawned and passed straight out. So yeah, my blood pressure was so bad, so I couldn't get out of bed. So, which meant I wasn't able to do my physio. So all my physio exercises that I do. So I have quite a lot of different physiotherapists and hospitals that I coordinate with for physio for all different parts of my body, and I wasn't able to do any of that. So not being able to do a lot of my physio has kind of put me back to square one. So it's, my strength has gone, my stamina's gone, my ability to move around has gone, climbing the stairs, you know, just silly little things like that. Being able to wash my hair, sort of being able to lift my shoulders up, that's gone. So yeah, so not being able to do my physio has sort of dropped my health right down, right back to square one. Having to start again, sort of working on my strength and my stamina, trying to keep all my joints in place. That's what most of my strength training is to hold my joints in. So because of my EDS, my Ehlers-Danlos loss, my ligaments can't keep my joints in place. They don't have the elasticity, I suppose, to keep things in place. They're kind of too stretchy. So my ligaments just stretch and stretch, and then they break apart, they tear apart, due to not having the collagen to kind of keep everything together. So a lot of my joints are dislocating, so I have to strengthen a lot of my muscles to keep my bones in place. So with having lost a lot of the strength of that, a lot of things are dislocating. My ankles, my hips, my shoulders, my ribs. So I had a issue with my rib the other day. So my rib had kind of pulled my spine out of line a little bit. Which, if anyone's had sciatica, it's kind of like you get that trapped nerve feeling, but like from about the middle of your back down instead of just from your butt down. So I had that for a few days. My neck sort of dropped as well. So I have sort of, I don't have much stability. So I have CCI, cervical cranial instability, where, you know, my head doesn't sit on my neck properly. It moves around. So I had that. So mine, and normally your body's normal response when a joint moves out of place is to kind of freeze like this, and everything swells up, everything tightens up, you get lots of swelling to protect the joint. So your muscles all tighten up to kind of hold everything in place. Lots of swelling to the area to try and keep everything still. you know, your whole body sort of panics and it's like, ah, and it tries to, you know, patch everything up, which then if your joints aren't quite in the right place when that happens, you can't get them back in the right place until all of that's dropped. So I was in bed for quite a while because I wasn't able to move my neck. Sitting up was painful because my head kept trying to, felt like it was trying to fall off my neck. So it was really hard to try and keep my head up straight. Obviously causing a lot of pain basically everywhere from the neck down because it was sort of the inflammation was then pressing on the nerves. So I was getting all of that pain from the neck down. And unfortunately it was too high, so I used a TENS unit. If anyone's ever seen them, they're like little electrode pads, and they send out signals to basically confuse the brain, and it disrupts the signals from the nerves getting to the brain. So you would put the pads above the pain and below your brain in the middle, you know, anywhere in the middle, and it just interrupts those signals. Well, because where it had gone was too high up, I've got hair there, so I couldn't attach the electrodes that high because it was too high, too close to my skull. So I couldn't even use that, so I just had to suck it up and lie and wait for everything to sort of relax and the muscles to relax. You can see you can even see like there's virtually no difference in size between my neck and my head because it's so swollen here, and you can see it in my back, it's all up and swollen still. So it's hard work keeping my head up. So I do have neck physio, which I've not been able to do because my neck hasn't been working. So yes, but I'm seeing my neck physio in a couple of weeks. Hopefully she'll just give it a couple of weeks for your neck to calm down, because obviously we can't do anything while it's all inflamed. So yeah, so start of July, end of June I think I'm seeing her. But yeah, so like I said, everything seems to start from scratch, so it's baby steps. So but we'll get there. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind if I'd done something silly or dangerous, you know, or adventurous, you know, but because they're things you can think, oh okay, well maybe don't go skydiving again, you know. It's like if it's something like that, but it's just, you know, like, oh, I yawned or I walked out of my house, you know, like just little things that you kind of have to do like each day. Like you can't just never move again, like, you know. So it's not, you're not doing things that you can just avoid. So yeah, but I remember once I sneezed and that dislocated my knee. So, you know, you can't just, say I won't sneeze again, like, you know, that's not really how the body works. But you know, like I said, baby steps. So I've got leg physio, so he's put that through as a referral to one of the higher up specialists, to try and sort of play around and see if there's anything different I can do now, because he's like, okay, well, you know, what you're doing is kind of good for maintaining like that lower level. He says, but really we need to be, you know, progressing beyond that, so we need to sort of take you from there. So yeah, so we're going to sort of start at the bottom and then try and progress up, rather than just trying to stay here, because he says if we can get you progressed, basically then if something like this happens again and it knocks me down, it's not going to knock me all the way to the bottom, you know, so it's going to be easier to recover if I'm stronger. So yeah, so he's referred me on to someone a bit higher up for that. Obviously I'm seeing my neck lady, so she does my neck and shoulders, so I work with her, so I'm seeing her in a couple of weeks. I've got the hospital, you know, Stanmore, London Hospital, I've got them on the line for pretty much anything else that I need. I can just ring them and say, okay, I need this specific, and we can go through that. So they've recently sent me a load of sort of new things to read through, and like you know, different exercises, different programs, different things that I can try and work on. Basically just sort of have a look through and see what I think of them, and if I think that they would be suitable. So just have a read through and obviously see how you feel, and then if it's something we can work on, then we will. So I've got them to have a look through. But yeah, so there we go. Also got a new car. Don't like it. So it's been a long time since I've driven anything that wasn't a VW Passat, and this is not a VW Passat. It's not even a VW, and yeah, it's everything's in the wrong place. All the buttons are wrong. There's cameras everywhere where there wasn't cameras. I've got like one of those parking cameras, you know, where you go into reverse and it brings up. I've never had one of those before. I don't like it. I can't quite get my head around it. In my head, it seems to be the wrong way. Like, it seems to be a mirror image of what it should be, which I'm finding really confusing. So, but also because I've never had one before, I don't actually know if it is the wrong way, you know, or if they're all supposed to be like that, and I just need to get used to it. So, so yeah, I need to, when I've got a day where I'm feeling a bit better, I need to run down to the dealership. Well, drive to the dealership and take the car in and be like, okay, can you just walk me through how this works? So, but yeah, so the car, like I said, I don't like it, but that's because it's different, and I need to get used to it eventually. But yeah, we'll get there. It's a lot smaller, and it's higher up. It's like an SUV style, whereas the Passat, being a saloon, you were sat quite low. So this, I'm sat a lot higher up, so my position in the road as I'm driving has changed. Whereas as I'm driving, I need to drive on the curb, you know, to get my position right in the road. So if I was driving in the Passat, I would be driving up on the side of the road. However, because I'm higher up, visually, that's how I need to be driving, but it puts me in the right position in the road. It is so confusing when I'm in the car, because I'm always driving on the middle line now instead of by the curb. But yeah, it's trying to like remember where to sit in the road so that I'm not taking up the entire space. But yeah, so we'll get there with that. I did a reverse bay park in it. Did my first one the other day, and completely out of line. It was like right over the line on one side. I was just like, I got out of the car and took a look. I thought, oh god, I thought I can't leave it like that. I thought I get upset when like other drivers leave their cars like that. I thought I can't leave my car like that, like taking up 2 spaces. So I had to go and move the car over. But yeah, so I need to practice a few more reverse bays. I did do a parallel park, and I did get okay on the parallel park. I felt like I was way out as I was going, but I thought, well, maybe that's a good thing, because then maybe I will be in the right place. So, but yeah, I did that okay. Didn't hit the other 2 cars, so, you know, all good. Which, I mean, I suppose it's nicer because I've got the car. This car is about 5 or 6 foot shorter than the Passat. So with the Passat being a saloon, obviously you had the nose, the boot, and then the car. Whereas this one, because it's a SUV style, you just have the nose and the car. Like, there's no extra space for the boot at the back because it's kind of under the seats. So yes, it's a lot shorter. So spaces that I would have driven straight past before on a parallel, now I can actually fit in them. So hopefully it'll make life a bit easier when I'm parking, because I can fit in all of those spaces. Whereas before it was like, no, can't fit there, can't fit there, can't fit there. So, you know, in theory, it should make it easier, but we will get there. If I can learn how to do a reverse bay at some point, that would be good. I think I just need to go up to like Tesco's or something and just practice a few, like in the bottom end of their car park where nobody parks, and just like practice doing a few. But yeah, so we'll get there. But yeah. So there we go. So that is my all of my updates and some rambles. Like I said, I'm going to work some more on my castle walls today, so I'm going to pop that up on the frame. Do a little bit more on that today, and then do another roll for tomorrow, and see what we get to work on. But yeah, like I said, at the end of June I will be doing like a 6-month review just of my goals. So I'll sort of look at what projects I have worked on so far, and also maybe, like I said, pull a few of those goals out that I really want to achieve, and then see if there's a few that I need to kind of be a bit more realistic on, or just drop them all together, you know. Like I said, I know as I was doing my whip parade in January, and I was like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do this and I want to do this, and then it wasn't until I sort of went back and started writing those goals down that I thought that's an awful lot to do. So like I said, maybe have to pull out a few. Like I said, my Hades and my big full coverage, my Animal Kingdom and that, I did want to achieve those goals on there, so I might have to sort of pull those out and sort of try and, you know, work on those a bit more, as opposed to just waiting for them to come up on the board, you know, just so I can achieve those goals. But yeah, so I will see you at the end of June with that update, and yeah, so until then, enjoy the weather if you can, stay safe in the sun, in the heat, wear your sunscreen, wear your sun hats, don't stay out in the sun too long, drink your water, you know, all things that I think we all know to do, but then we don't actually do them. So, you know, just yeah, stay safe. But yeah, and I will see you soon. So I love you lots. Bye bye.